Greetings to all of you who have joined us today on this beautiful Easter morning. May we all come together in worship and thought. Easter is here, and you know what that means? Candy! So let's break out the decorating kit. It's time to celebrate. Even though we've been dyeing eggs forever and hiding plastic versions in our own backyard for the annual Easter egg hunt, most of you probably aren't sure why the egg is something that symbolizes Easter. Out of all the foods in the world, what is it about eggs that makes them so special? I mean, why do we color eggs at Easter? According to Good Housekeeping, which was for me the authority in my home growing up, I don't know how it was for all of you, early Christian missionaries dyed eggs. And they dyed them different colors to represent aspects of the Easter story. They used yellow to represent the resurrection, blue to represent love, and red to represent the blood of Christ. Some believe that the eggs were decorated as a way to signal that they were finally available and ready to eat. During the Lenten season, eggs were off limits, but when Easter arrived, those who followed this religious tradition were able to enjoy them once again. Eggs are also a symbol of rebirth. Some believe that the egg may have originated from even an earlier time. European pagans used to observe the spring equinox as a time when the sun god would return. And even if you don't consider yourself to be religious, it's still a lot of fun to dye Easter eggs every year. Easter in general is seen as a time for all. Plenty of people just use it as a time to unite with family, members, and to come together. In many lands and places, Christians come together at Easter to honor and celebrate the Christ. Jews celebrate Passover. Passover, that time to celebrate the story of the connection between the people and the land, and the Jewish people's connection to that land of Israel, which goes back more than 3,000 years. Now, Universalist Unitarians come together to celebrate community. The connection between our faith beliefs and those of Christians and Jews is this thing called hope. Now, hope can be defined as to cherish a desire with anticipation, to want something to happen, to be true, to trust, to expect with confidence. This morning I bear with you as I share with you stories of hope in my life and how they relate to this theme, Shall I Rise? I take you back to when you were 10 years old. For some of you, that might be quite a ways back. For others, not so much. But I remember it as yesterday, when in that kitchen of that home with my mother, it's the night before Easter. In my family, we always colored Easter eggs. And in this particular Easter was different. We had lost my grandmother a few months before. And as we gathered together as a family to color Easter eggs, I noticed the look on my grandfather's face, the sadness he had in his eyes as he was missing his loved one of 50 years. But he told us to go ahead, to decorate, to celebrate, to have hope. And I can remember being that 10-year-old very inquisitive and wondering if we put the egg in this color and the next color, and the next color, and the next color, what would it look like? And of course, as you can imagine, as we started with yellow and then put in red, and then green. And eventually that egg became to look like a muck. And the hope that I had of decorating a wonderful egg soon went out the window. But then there was another egg to decorate. And I learned about anticipation and hope, wondering what color the egg would turn out and how shiny it would be. The next part of hope occurred several years later when I found myself in a hospital room, anxiously waiting for the birth of my first daughter. Her mother's water had broken, and we went off to the hospital, and we waited 5 hours, 10 hours, 20 hours, 25 hours, and finally, after 28 hours, the miracle of birth occurred. And I remember the hope that I felt in my heart that day as I looked down at this newborn, this life, this daughter of mine, hoping with anticipation that she would grow, that she would make a difference in the world, that she would be a blessing to her mother, her father, her ancestors, and to all those who've gone before and those who would follow her. And I had the privilege to experiencing that several other times, and with each birth of a son or a daughter, it was the same anticipation. It was the same feeling of hope. And now, I come to a time of hope and trust and experience and anticipation. When it was the fall of 2018, and I was serving in Cape Town, South Africa as an interim minister, and had the opportunity to interview with those who had been chosen for your search committee for an interim minister, and was granted the opportunity and called to be your interim minister. And I remember as I arrived that January, very cold, very bitter, and wondering and hoping with anticipation that it would be a short winter. But wondering about you and wondering about the hope that I had for this congregation, the anticipation of meeting you, working with you, learning from you, growing from you. And as I look back at that past year, many of the hopes have been realized. And now as we gather at this time with the hope that we can once again come together and really be with each other, I have a hope for each of you. I have a hope that you'll take advantage of the opportunity which will be yours in the next couple of weeks to get to know by way of virtually the candidate which has been selected and chosen to be this settled minister. And I hope that you will come to appreciate and realize that this is the person that can lead this congregation forward. It is my hope and anticipation that you will embrace this and go forward and find this to be a wonderful experience. It is also my hope that we will have the opportunity, both Linda and I, together with you, before we leave. But if we don't, know that our hopes and prayers are with you as you take this time to be an opportunity to grow and to become all that you can be, to rise up. You know, the funny thing about hope is that it usually requires some type of action. Today we come together in hope, We hope for many things, but we all look forward when this pandemic will be maintained. We all have been asked in our own way to rise up, to stay at home so that we can save lives. Isn't it interesting as we celebrate Easter and Passover at this time that the Easter in the Christian world is celebrating someone who gave a life for us, as the belief goes. And now we have an opportunity to save others' lives. May each of you grow in this time. In order to keep you focused and to help you, this past week, Reverend Linda and I sent to you a letter. And in the letter were some loose flower seeds. We're asking you to take some time to plant those seeds this week and then commit to nurturing and watching them grow. And may these seeds represent the opportunity that each of you have currently to rise up, to take advantage of this time to be with family in your home, to take advantage of this opportunity to examine, to find the inner peace which we all so seek, in the calmness. May the words of Maya Angelou's poem, Still I Rise, offer you a sense of hope in the confidence that you will need to rise up. May each of you be filled with the hope this Easter morning, and may that hope carry you through these coming weeks. Please join me in this Easter prayer. Spirit that goes by many names and is beyond naming, be with us this morning with all that we carry, joys and sorrows, hopes and doubts, accomplishments and failures. Be with us as we open our hearts to the joy of spring, of Easter, of hope. Spirit of life, help us to welcome the blooming of spring into our lives. Help us to welcome new beginnings, risk, and the unknown. Spirit of compassion, be with us in the brokenness that comes with everyday living. Help us to be gentle with each other and with ourselves. Help us to heal, to forgive, and to love more deeply. Spirit of memory, be with us as we hold dearly thoughts of those who are no longer with us. Help us to remember, to heal, to continue. Spirit of wholeness, be with us as we are aware of the brokenness in our own lives and in the world. We remember those places where suffering is happening. Help us to roll back stones of fear, indifference, and welcome to a world of peace and love. Spirit of community, be with us this Easter morning as we worship together in honor of stories of rebirth, of rising up, in celebration of renewed life. May it be so. May you celebrate this day and continue to hope for the next and for the time once again when we can all be together under our new normal. And now